It is a pleasure to be here on this beautiful, warm summer day. Oh no, spring day. Wait a minute, the seasons are all mixed up. Is it the winter that just ended with summer days, or is it the spring that just started with snow? And that leads us to our talk for today, which is I'm going to take 4 minutes to talk about eating as if you are enlightened. How many of you out here are enlightened? We've got one person. All right, first of all, what are we talking about when we're talking about enlightenment? Well, is it going into a cave and meditating for 20 years and then coming out and seeing that there's no ego, that we are connected to all beings on this planet? Or is it 4 lifetimes or 20 lifetimes, whatever it is? Well, that's one way of looking at enlightenment, where the self is gone. That takes a long time. So we're looking at a little bit of a shorter term enlightenment. So we're looking at enlightenment as taking actions in your life and looking at your life, taking in all of the inputs, everything you see, everything you hear, and making your decisions and your choices in life based upon wisdom and compassion and insight and all the knowledge, putting it all together and coming up with something that is truly wise. That's enlightenment. Being in this moment, choosing in this moment something that expresses you being awake right now. It's a big-minded perspective so that you take all other beings on this planet into account. You take all other situations into account and you make your choices. And also you understand that the choices you make are what the world becomes. Now let me illustrate the opposite of that, which will give you a better idea of what I'm talking about by being enlightened. The other side of that, the opposite, the flip side of the coin is small-mindedness. Now, how many people think we've been kind of sort of living in a world where maybe up at the federal level there's a little bit of small-mindedness going on? Yeah, I'd say most of us feel that way. So, not to be political here, but indeed, my tribe, my team, America first. I love America. Do we need to be first? How about the world first? How about humanity first? So when we're talking about this, my gender, if anyone's gender is different or challenges the way I see it, you're out. My species is all that's important. That's what I mean by small-mindedness. So how would we eat if we were enlightened, if we were awake to everything right now? Would we be choosing a diet that helps create a situation where tens of millions of people die every single year because they don't have enough food to eat? 7,200 children every day under the age of 5. Would we choose that diet as enlightened beings? No, it's pretty clear we wouldn't. Would we be choosing a diet that ends up killing us maybe 10, 20, 30 years early, leaving behind our children, our families? No. Would we be eating a diet that resulted in the killing of wonderful, compassionate, in their own right, beings that have feelings, that have family structures, social structures, who experience life much in the same way that we do without our human language and our human shoes and our human cars, but they experience their joint relationships to this planet in much the way we do? Would we be killing them just for a momentary pleasure in order to have that taste that we say, oh yeah, leg of lamb, I love this? Would an enlightened person be eating that way? No. So, here we are in a world, living in a world that is making choices with, not to judge, but with a very small mind that came from the past. It came from our parents and our grandparents and our neighbors and the media and everything else. And here we are with big minds living in a world that's making decisions based upon small mind. So what do? Well, first of all, people watching this on YouTube 5 years from now, in this crowd, I think a lot of you have already made this change, had this realization, and you're eating differently. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you might be thinking, gosh, he's talking about changing the world that way or making a difference, but that's going to take a lot of willpower. Let me tell you how much willpower it takes not to eat animals when you understand all that I just mentioned. On a scale of 1 to 100, 0. Now, you might not understand that. Let me explain that. When I see little girls walking down the street, I don't beat the heck out of them. I don't beat them up. You know why? Willpower. It takes every bit of willpower that I have not to beat those little girls, right? No, it has nothing to do with willpower. You get it? You see, you understand, you feel, you act from wisdom. You don't need willpower. So here we are in a world thinking that we're the ones that are holding back, when really the people who have looked at this issue and understands the implications are truly the ones who are acting free. Enlightenment means lightening your load. Lightening, not carrying a burden of I have to do this. Lightening, allowing our inner light to come out and be expressed as wisdom, as kindness, as compassion. And that's where we are. We carry around a sword, but it's a sword of wisdom, where we cut through the conditioning and the habits and the small-mindedness that's around us, and we fill it with the love and compassion, and that gives us the world that it is becoming today, where now there are vegans of every sort in role models all over the world, where China has said that they're going to cut their meat consumption by 50%. You know, this is the world that's happening. Anyone who doesn't see it just hasn't figured it out yet. Compassion and wisdom are the coming. That's the coming world that we're in, and we are the leaders in creating that new world. So people, you are here today, you're at the top of the pack. You're leading. Join an organization, speak your voice, never be ashamed of the wisdom that you're acting out of, and take this with you everywhere you go. Thank you very much.